Pump. Pump.
Aha!
This is why people who work on cars should be licensed. This is a oil pump off a V10 R8, and it had an oil leak off the side of the pump, which is here. I didn't bring my light, Dav. And someone's pulled the thread out of the drain plug. Ew. And then put a thread cert in it and left the thread cert proud. Right. So when I put the old plug-a-rooney in, yeah, you can see where this is going.
I've got an idea.
Do the drain plug up. Yeah, goes like that. Where's the sealing washer supposed to go then?
Ew.
So it leaks out between the case and the thread cert.
Not good.
Nope. Monkeys worked on this. So we are going to fix it. We looked at trying to do a local repair. It's not going to work. Not something I trust it, because that's on oil pump. That would pump the oil out of this engine in seconds. So we're going to do it properly. So let's get through the intro. I'll take my happy pills, because Tuesday I was miserable.
And we'll do some work for a change.
And we'll do some work for a change. Bosh, let's go. Baby, a little baby. Right, so this is a pump off a 5.2 V10, so this would be the same on LP Gallardo, it's the same on a Huracan, it's the same on a Gen 1, Gen 2 R8, so any V10 is the same. So here's your thermostat housing, here's your water pump housing, here's your pump outlet into the block, here's your oil feed or oil intake, so that's off the tank into the front of the pump. That's the pressure side of the pump, and then the pump feeds it up into the bottom of the block, through the front of the block, across through the heat exchanger, and then up through the filter. And then the heat exchanger's got a thermostat in it as well. So that's the outlet, and then these are the 8 scavenge ports. So in the bottom of the crankcase, it's not a sump, in the bottom of the crankcase is a catch, and then these 8 scavenge ports suck the oil out of the crankcase. The RS6 has got an extra chamber on the back here with 2 pipes off, and that sucks oil out of the turbos, which is what I had problems on mine. So an RS6 pump and a V10 pump are different. So we essentially need to change this center section, because you can only buy it as that, and that's £3,800 plus the government standard issue tax.
Oof.
Yep. For something some idiot did with that. And the best bit is they would have drilled a hole in an oil pump with it on the car, because it's never been off before.
Oh dear.
I know. I love it. So we're going to undo these 4 bolts. And they've come undone, which is a novelty. And there's one under here. Dav, your muff is tickling my chin. Have to move it.
Move the road, man.
Road, man. Right. Let's see how messy this gets. Don't lose your bolts, because they're £15 each.
15 quid?
15 quid, mate. A bolt.
Wow.
Yeah. And that one's from under there. Right. So we should now be able to lift the front timing cover, or the front impeller housing, off the pump, and it should come nicely. Oh, let's bring the oil pump with it as well.
Here we go.
Bring the water pump with it, sorry. So like that. So I'm going to leave that there a sec, because I need to find a bucart. Like so. Yeah, because the seals get very expensive in this as well. So that's the water pump, and that's driven off a hex shaft through the middle. So the best way to draw that out without damaging it is to pop them back in and gently see it drawing it off the case. Means you haven't got a lever on anything, or
Gently, gently.
yeah, and then it should. Once you've got it started, it's just the pressure of the O-ring. So I'll show you when we get it out. Yeah, so O-ring, plastic dowel, don't lose that. Just this, that you can get this water pump impeller separate, and that is 487 quid.
Whoa!
So don't drop that. Don't drop it. Right, so now we're going to take, so we've got the water assembly out of the way now. You can see the hex drive comes off the intermediate gear in the back of this case, and that's what drives that. Like a so.
What's there?
So what we're going to do now is draw this case off, which will reveal the pressure side. So it's obvious which way the pump goes, but I always disassemble it so this side faces up, yeah? Because when we start pulling gears out, you will see what I mean. So you always know, when you've got it stripped across the bench then, you always know.
Yeah, you keep track of what goes where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, come on, sweetheart. I've got gasket, little plastic dowel, and there's one this end as well. So just keep your eye on those. Yeah. Pressure cover, springings. We is gonna leak everywhere now, mate.
There we go.
Uno pressure gear, which is on a Woodruff key, yeah. And then let me just make sure they work, because they've got dots on them.
That is a very strange noise.
I know, you see, dots go together.
There we go, yeah.
Yeah, so as long as you keep that in mind. Oh man, pushed it back on, can't get it out of the oil.
Oh, it's stuck.
So that's the Woodruff key side. Yeah, face it up. And then this side has no key, so that free spins on the shaft. All right, so we got no dots on the back, so dots always face you. Yeah, and we were like that. Okay?
Yep.
So the next bit we've got to do is we've got to get that Woodruff key out, which can be slightly troublesome. Don't tell George we've nicked a load of carbons flyer rags. You see? So what I've got to try and do here is get that Woodruff key out, because I won't be able to draw this cover off without removing it. So we will try and get it to turn. So it's facing up. Now sometimes you can just give them a little pry. You just got to be careful. Or you can pop it with a really sharp chisel. I don't really like going crazy with pliers. So I like trying to get it there and then bang it, because you won't be able to draw this case off without it.
Okay.
All right. Then So I've used just a really sharp chisel. I've gone in flat against the woodruff key to give me something to grip on, and I've then just lifted it out. Hey mate. So it has knocked the corner off, as you can see there.
Just hold that really still. Yep.
But it's super clean, and the rest of it then I haven't damaged with a set of pliers trying to wiggle it out. So I haven't damaged the shaft, and I'll just clean it up with a file, put it back in upside down, and it'll be perfect. But it's the safest way I've found in the past to get them out without sort of interfering. Like, look, it still goes in, even a bit of chiseled, still goes down the slot. So that's the best way I've found. Just a super sharp chisel, nice and gently, go in flat against it, give it a good bing. So you've got something to push against, and then just tap, 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 and you'll just fold it out. And we haven't damaged the shaft, we haven't done anything. Because if you don't get it right, you'll just damage the woodruff key, and then you're in shit street because you can't get them. You'd have to, all right, we got spare pumps, but take it as a lesson from me. So what we're going to do now is, we're just going to, oh, sticks in that bloody, there we go. One's out. One's out here. Once I've got this case open, I've got most of the oil out of the way, we can get a load of it.
Have a proper look.
Yeah, because you just, and I got a 5mm in there as well. So. So if you also I might have to just do it that way. One, that's the long one through the middle, and then I should have another one there. Right, let's just make sure we've got them all out, and again a little wiggle, and we should, there we go, see it go.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So we want to try and, he's trying to bring the gears with it. Don't want it to, there we go, back he comes sweet up, like so. Okay, so we've got two little rings in here because you're trying to protect the pressure side from a scavenge side, so you just got to be careful with these. But that is the mess they have made. If I wipe that off, see what they've done. Right, so we've got seal kits for these. And again, so I imagine if I lift them off as a pair, going to have Oh, them ones aren't even dotted up. All right. So dots were away from us there, so that's gone in the right way. I can turn, this has got a Woodruff key cut outlet on the plate.
There we go.
Yeah, so I can bring the plate out. And the reason I'm bringing the plate out is because there's a gasket behind it as well. And I know damn well I'll put it all back together and it'll leak out that gasket. So I'm going to bring the plate out. That sits like that. Yeah. And then we've got a seal in here, like so. So 1, 2, 3. Now you can keep going. You can take those gears off, and then you can obviously split the back cover off as well, but I'm not asking for trouble today.
There's no need to go that far today?
No, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have a clean up. We're going to wash everything. I'll go and get a seal kit and show you what we've got, and then I'll get a intermediate cover out, and we'll give everything a clean, and we'll start putting it back together.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan.
So how did this present itself, the issue with this car? Was it an oil leak?
It came in for a service, and we put it up on a ramp, and obviously it had oil leaking out the side of the oil pump, and we pulled the plugs out to drain the oil out of the system as part of the service, and then Matt noticed the state of that. So the customer was here because it was a waiting job.
Okay.
So we had conversations about different options. We were going to try and fix it. I was going to have a chat with Dan at Ludlow's and see what we could do there. But to be honest, the risk was so high that if we did a repair and for whatever reason it didn't hold or it leaked, we've either then got to do this anyway.
Sure.
But also the risk is he's driving home and it dumps its oil.
Of course, yeah.
Because it's it's not like a crankcase plug that will just gravity leak. This is under pressure. This is under a lot of pressure. So I was a little bit worried about that.
Because that is a dead engine, isn't it?
Oh yeah. We're in seconds. In seconds. Yeah. In seconds. Are we ready, Dabla?
Come on.
All right.
Hit it.
What do we think? Everything's nice and clean now.
Let's run through it all, shall we?
Yeah. So we've obviously got all the fixings, the intermediate plate, pressure screw, hex drive, Woodruff key, the scavenge gears, the priming gears, a new intermediate piece with a correct and undamaged screw thread, the pressure side, the water pump, and that is about it. Everything's been through the hot wash, and then these are our seals then that replace these. So basically, assembly is just the reverse of disassembly. So the two Woodruff, dowels are in place. And we just give everything a
little bit of a clean up.
little clean. All right. Fiddly as you like. But just push it into all, lad. Like so. All right. So we got to make sure our Woodruff key's in the right place because we've got a slot on the intermediate plate.
There is.
So sit over the dowels like a so. All right. Then, and then dot facing down, dot down. Open the bottle, Rick. Now these ones don't matter so much about having oil on them, because remember the Woodruff key means it's fixed. But the other one, I try to make sure I've got oil on properly. Place it like so.
A liberal coating.
Yes, good glazing. Now we've got to put an O-ring in this side of the face. Like so. Make sure the plate's sat down. Okily dokily. Left nothing out. Don't forget. So next we need some boltings. And we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one goes down the middle. So just nice and steady, because you're trying to pull it onto the dowels first. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, that was to 8. So we just do it to 10, which is where those sort of size fixings should be. You should be laughing, lad. One, 2, 3, 4. Wobbly extensions, bloody hell. On and tight. So the next thing is to get our Woodruff key in. And also, before we forget, pump drive. So, the trick. Fiddly is a bugger. Probably harder than getting it bloody in the oil, getting it out of the oil. Just getting it on, getting it to start square, like, you know.
It's a bit of a trick.
Yeah, because just obviously you cannot put it on before you put the casing on. You have to do it this way because there's no slot in the casing because it needs to seal. So what I normally do is just keep feeling it with a shaft to make sure I've got it in enough. Yeah, not enough. A little tap with... That might work. A bit more at the bottom. Pinch now. That's the problem, see, you don't get it on right, or you knock it out the bottom, and then it just pinches on the bloody... Lovely jubbly. Right.
They're in.
Now, the most important thing on the pressure side is if you put that together dry and put the case on, it'll take you forever to get oil pressure. And we've had that before. So make sure you essentially wet your splines. Yeah, so I put a bit of build lube over the top like that. And then I also just fill it with some oil as well. Because if you put that together dry, you just won't get oil pressure. Bugger. Because metal don't seal. It's the it's the fluid that helps it seal. So you just got to make sure you put it
quite
together,
liberal with
put
it.
it together wet. Yeah. Yeah, honestly. Rebuilt a pump, didn't we? We primed the V10 engine. It took us like, do you remember it? What have we done here? Thinking that obviously the feed into the front of the pump would be enough to cover that in oil. But what happens is the oil comes through here and airlocks the top of the pump.
Okay.
So then we were cranking it over. Obviously the engine's on build loop, so there was never any risk, and we wouldn't let it run until we knew we had oil pressure. But we had no oil pressure, do we? And then in the end, we figured out what it was, and we sorted it. But
Squeaky bum moment.
yeah, it was just like, what the hell's going on? Why have we? Because of course it's a fresh engine build. You know what I mean? You're starting to think, oh, have I fucked up here? But we had not. Plastic dowel
just gone in dry.
Front of this. It had just gone in dry, Dav. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, we're good. Seal's on. This is on. Down. Just making sure I'm not missing any dowels. I am missing a dowel. There it is. Dowel here and here. Yeah. Ow, that hurts my ears. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You wonder about the noise. It's this man here. It's cold blowing off.
Blowing head. Right. That goes back in there. So we've got 2 O-rings to replace. 1, 2. That's all scrap. We'll put a new plug in because that's the old one. So we've got a new O-ring to go on the back of the impeller. Just wipe it off first. So I just rolled it then because I couldn't remember whether I'd done it. So just roll the O-ring round with a tool just to make sure you haven't twisted the O-ring.
Okay.
Because if you've twisted it, putting it on, and not checked, you'll have problems. So spline drive's in the bottom. Make sure you don't leave that out because that'll make. So as we push it on, we'll just wiggle the shaftings to find home. Nice constant pressure. There we go. If I turn now, there we go. She dropped in. All right. So water pumps in.
Lovely.
Locked up. Make sure it doesn't turn. And then this one then is a front housing seal. So this should just sit nicely. Make sure it's gone in, it's not pinched. If you're worried, a little bit of grease. Just a little bit of grease in the bottom of the groove. I try not to do it. But if the O-ring's sitting up, for whatever reason, just a little bit of grease will help the O-ring sit in. You just don't want it jumping out. Like so. And then that is it. So all we've got left is 4 bolts. That's an old O-ring, old plug, old centre seals, 2 water pump seals. That is it, mate.
Nearly there.
So we will... And that's Monday. That is how you save a customer £3 grand.
And the rest.
Well, yeah. So that's an old pump we had out of a blown up engine. Those are the old bits. I'll put a new, someone's used a T30 in that and it's a 5mm, so we'll put a new pair of drain bungs on it. But yeah, someone's obviously tried to do it on the cheap, which is why they tried to do a repair, but they've done a shit repair. So we've essentially changed the intermediate section, and
voila,
she should be right as rain. So Mitch is just prepping. You got the, so that's what goes on the bottom of the timing cover. So that's sealed to the timing cover. There's an O-ring that goes in it that goes, is that the one out there? That's the one out there. So like, the O-ring goes like plastic. That's not a bad one to be fair, is it?
That's
normally,
but it didn't snap.
Like,
yeah, normally it snapped.
So you can see
it's gone stiff.
Stiff, whereas a O-ring should be like that.
Bender.
Yeah. So that's the same as the RS6 oil pump seals. Well, there you go. There's one, and that's the other. So pop a new O-ring on, that gets sealed to the bottom of the timing cover, and then the new pump can go on basically. And that's the lengths we go to save our customers money. Because putting a pump on for that is ridiculous. So, yeah. If I just get me, that's why we keep all the seals in stock. Well, the end of the build trolley there, we got a load of pumps. So there's another O-ring in the bottom there, mixture change now before he puts it back on. But that is how you fix that.
So there we go.
I know, I thought so. Yeah. If you've got any questions, let me know. I won't have the answers, but I'll try. But yeah, I think that's a good fix, that, to be fair.
A job well done, sir.
Yeah, because if we didn't have these parts, I mean, all right, you could probably take that out, machine it and try and do a fix. But what happens is, the shaft for the water pump impeller runs in that hole. So what happens is, people put, because we see it quite a lot, where they put the wrong plug in, and the hex bar marks the end of the plug, and you get a noise, because the one at the bottom of the timing cover is longer than that one. So we see that quite a bit as well. So the reason they haven't been able to recess that flush is because it's obviously hit the bottom of the, it's hit the water pump drive.
Yeah.
But also leaving it like that is no good either, so. Yeah, for a couple £100 in seal kits, I don't know, a nominal fee for that casing out of a knackered water pump. And what's that taking us? Well, realistically, it's an hour, innit? It's just me and you have been chatting crap. like we normally do, pretty much. Yeah, job's a good one. Back on the road, and it's proper. Do you know what I mean? It isn't a shoddy repair. You'd never know. That's a factory fix, that.
Should we have a quick look at the car it came off?
Yeah, should we go and look?
Yeah.
So this is El Cario, and that's what the bottom of the engine looks like without it. So that's the water pump feed, that's the oil pressure feed, that's the 8 scavengers. The drive shaft is off up there. So that's the oil return hose, this is the oil feed hose. We've obviously got to pull the water pipes out of the way, and then it literally just hangs on the bottom of the engine. So that's what Mitch is on with now. That's the drive shaft that drives the pump, the oil pump, and then in turn the water pump.
Okay.
And then that's the drive shaft it runs inside. Sorry, the tube it runs inside. So that's what leaks normally. Give it a clean. So that's the sealing surface for the O-rings, both ends. One sits in that triangle timing cover I showed you, and then the other sits in the end of the oil pump. So
there we go.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Not too bad to do. It's to pump on and off, do all the seals. It's normally about 6 hours work. So you know, you think of it that way. All right, it's an extra hour or so for me to rebuild that pump, whatever we've done. But it would be, if he bought a new pump, it'd be 6 hours labour plus then the cost of the pump. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, significant saving just by sort of having someone proper do the job. I mean, like I said, we do so many engines and stuff, we've always got spare bits, which is what we've harvested, like what we talk about our DL800 program and stuff like that. You know, we've got so much stuff lying around, we're able to harvest parts, save customers a load of money. So yeah, something nice and simple, but hopefully a good insight into little bits and pieces with you.
Absolutely.
Right, I'm going for a tea.
Nice one.
Not a shit. So, see you next week. Smash buttons, tell us what I did wrong, and see you on the next one. Laters.